everyone, and welcome to Doodle Therapy, a drawing show here on Adobe Live where our goal is to chill, doodle, and just have fun together and explore. It's great to see you all joining. If you're joining us live, please feel free to say hi in the chat. We're checking the Behance chat, not the YouTube one, and it would be great to see, everyone's familiar faces and new ones as well. So to introduce myself, my name is Alice. I'm a muralist and illustrator based in the SF Bay area. And I'm also the host for Doodle Therapy. And we are joined today. Please give a warm welcome to our very special guest, Bonnie Kate Wolf. Welcome, Bonnie Kate.
Hi there. You're about to hear a terrible noise because my because my dog walker just got back.
Oh no.
So I don't know if you could hear that horrible sound, but it just happened. But hello, I'm Bonnie Kate Wolf. I'm a product designer at Netflix, and I am an illustrator and icon designer all the time, everywhere.
Yay! Welcome, BK. And I want to say hi to everyone who's joining us live as well, to Humem from Algeria, to Uriel, who says it's their first time here, to Devin Co. Welcome, Devin, and Shauna. It's great to see everyone, and I hope you're all having a lovely afternoon or day. We always have a question of the day that we present at the beginning of the stream. I would just love to hear, as our question of the day today, how are you doing today? How's your day going? Just in a nutshell, how's it going? And I'll pose the same question to you, BK. How's your day going?
My day's going pretty great, I have to say. I'm doing super fun stuff at work, and I get to have a beautiful tree outside my window, and I'm gonna eat pizza for dinner, so it's a good day.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm doing good too. I'm ready for an hour of some soul-soothing doodle therapy. I hope you are as well. So to recap,
Yes.
if you're new to doodle therapy, basically our goal here is to doodle and chill, kind of like, as they say, for Netflix, because Bonnie works at Netflix. And every week we have a different guest on. We dive into a different topic. And this week it's really going to be really fun. This week we're taking a look at the past. And our challenge to you is to look at a piece that you have worked on previously and redraw it. We're going to be doing that today, and we invite you to join us. I think it's going to be really fun because in redrawing your past work, it's kind of like talking to your past self and seeing all the areas that you can now see that you can improve on, but like before you didn't have the eye to do so. And also see how far you've grown as well. So, and also I just want to say welcome into everyone joining us, to Matthew, joining us from Australia, Brittany, Stephen, Christina. We've got a full house here. So super excited. And before we jump into today's stream, I do want to just quickly recap the very full day of Adobe Live that has happened, starting off with hand lettering, the morning, the Creative Encore with Josh Ryan, the Creative Challenge for Video and Motion, Jason, followed by the Photoshop one with Kathleen, then Alexis Roberts for photo compositing. Paul Tranny led us through the Illustration Daily Creative Challenge. We learned about packaging design from Chris Porter. Howard walked us through the Adobe XD Challenge, and we just finished drawing along with Kyle Webster. So this is going to be the schedule for tomorrow, minus Kyle's segment. And also right after this at 4 p.m., we have a really fun segment with Adrian Walujo, who's in Australia. So that'll be exciting. So Bonnie, let's dive into it. I've got some of your work here on the screen. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're all about?
Sure. So I'm trying to think where to even begin. So I love a lot of things, and those things tend to kind of manifest in my work. So those things tend to be people, TV, movies, rainbows, dogs, and I basically just draw things that I like. I'm very aesthetic as an illustrator. I just like to draw things which are very pretty and kind of explore the medium of digital illustration.
Yeah. And I love, I think your style is so unique, and your technique. You work in vector, you work shape-based vector, but you create these really, ethereal, beautifully lit portraits. which I think is so unique for at least what I've seen in vector art.
Mm,
So I thought it'd be really fun to showcase. I feel like we have similar vibes, but we
yeah.
approach it in a totally opposite way. Whereas you're vector based, some of my work is up here, and I'm painting instead of drawing the shapes, if
Yeah.
so to speak. So it's cool to see. And hey to Valentus and Christine and Chris for joining us. So without ado, let's just dive into this week's challenge on Doodle Therapy. So like I mentioned, this is going to be a redraw challenge. We're taking a look to the past and picking out a piece that we created from the past and trying to redraw it with our, new wisdom that we've acquired, as our present day selves. So, can you tell us a little bit about, the piece that you've chosen and, yeah, like when you drew it and what you were thinking about at the
Yes.
time?
Yes. The year was 2014 and I was 22.
I
And
was 23.
back in the old days. Yes. So I was studying illustration in college. This must have been my final year of my bachelor's or my second year of my bachelor's. And I just loved drawing. I love fashion illustration, basically, is what I really loved. But I was told over and over and over again from like college, high school, even probably middle school, nobody wants your pretty drawings. Like they're not sad enough. They're not emotional enough.
How dare they? Don't
I
listen to
know,
them.
because the dum-dums now here, that's my job. So yeah, I did all my pretty drawing in my spare time. So this was one of those pieces I'd probably just seen Legally Blonde, because that's how up on the times I was. Because it probably from
Oh,
like
yeah.
2001 or something.
It was like 2000. Yeah, definitely the single digit 2000s.
Yeah, like I saw it way late, but I fell in love with that character, Pink. I was like, oh, I'm super into all of her like outfits, and I love her personality, and I love the story that they're telling. And so I was like, I got to draw this. And so it's based on, I can show you this still, because I use references for almost everything that I draw. I struggle to draw from my head. But so this was the still of her, I think, arriving at Harvard. And so that then resulted in this, which at the time I was sure was like a masterpiece, like Picasso, Michelangelo. I'd hit the big leagues.
Yeah,
So that's
I've
where I was
peaked.
mindset wise.
Yeah. Also, Human wants to know, do you use the tablet or the mouse today to design? So I use tablet. I draw with the pen. But how about yourself, Bonnie Kate?
Yeah, this is my tool of choice. The mouse, a good mouse, not a magic mouse.
Love it.
Yeah, I've always used a mouse because I've been drawing on the computer since I was about 8. And I'm sure tablets must have existed then, but I did not. My family was not going to buy me a tablet at 8.
Yeah, I feel like the tablet technology lately has also like increased so much. That with the iPad and stuff. So, well, that's so cool, and thanks for sharing about your Elle Woods portrait, as Devin says in the chat. What, like it's hard? Which is an iconic quote where she is describing, how hard or not hard it is to get into Harvard Law School.
Yep.
So my piece here that I've chosen is also from 2014 when I was a, wee child of 23. I had just quit my full-time job as a product designer at a tech company, and I was trying to explore illustration. So I think it's really fun to reflect on like where we were when we were working on each of these pieces. So I created this. This is like a cityscape view of San Francisco. And I remember I wanted to draw a nighttime cityscape, but I was afraid of drawing detailed buildings. Like I didn't feel confident in doing it. So what I do when I'm afraid of drawing something, for example, like hands or detailed buildings, is, I just drew the, really far zoomed out version of the landscape. And I think it's a lot easier to draw, a blobby version of this landscape than the really zoomed in, detail, precise shot. So I thought I was, fooling everyone, but I can see through my tricks now. in 2021. And so today I'm going to be trying to redraw, I think what I originally intended to draw, but was too scared to because like I think my skill level was just not quite there yet. Oh, and hi to everyone who's joining us in the chat. We've got Mint, we've got Roji. Hey, Roji. It's great to see you all here, our internet friends. Cool. So, let's dive into it. Do you mind showing us a little bit about your current drawing, your current sketch?
Yes. Yes. So this is where I'm starting. Because I did not want to just start from a blank slate where you were going to spend a long time watching me figure out how far away to put the nose from the eyes. I always put the nose like right between the eyes by accident every time. So, so we're starting with something a little bit more just like the line art, if you will. And it's just filled in because it's so easy in vector.
Cool. Yeah. As for me, this piece obviously looks a little different from my original starting point. But that's because, I decided that I wanted to actually tackle the subject matter that intimidated me before. So I'm going to be drawing a full-on view of a building storefront. And then I'm going to use the same colors from this palette. I'm going to steal the color palette from my past self. So my past self did all the work. I'm just going to eyedrop him. And so hopefully, this new piece will be kind of like a sister piece to the old one from 2014.
They're good colors as well. Like that's some beautiful complementary colors you got going there. So I think it makes a lot of sense to steal those colors.
Yeah, complementary colors. We learned about that in our color theory stream. Yeah.
Y'all just learned something.
So, as BK and I dive into this, I challenge you to, take a look at those old design files, take a, flip through your Dropbox folder and try to pick out an old piece that you created maybe a while ago that, might have slipped your mind. You might have forgotten about it a little bit and try to revisit it. And I think you would be surprised at how far along you've grown in that time. And you'll start to notice little things that now your current self can see as being kind of obvious improvements to make. And I think that's it's both a humbling experience because sometimes when we work on stuff, it's easy to think this is it. I've peaked, you guys. This is the peak of my career. It's just going to be here. But obviously that's not the case because we keep growing and improving. So let's dive in. So now that you've got your basic structure of your character laid out, could you tell us a little bit about what you're up to next? What are you thinking about? What are you prioritizing at this step?
So I'm going to start with the face, and I've made these eyebrows with some pointy lines, and I'm just going to turn those paths into shapes so that I can start really getting them feeling better.
I see. So you are using the line tool that has a line width, and then you've just expanded them into shapes, and now you're editing the shapes. That's smart because
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's smart because then you don't have to. If you started with the shape tool, then you'd have to draw a perfectly, perfect width rectangle for that angle.
Yep, and I'm not perfect. I know you're probably thinking I was perfect, but I'm not, gang.
So I have a question. If you rely on this multiple step process where it's line first, then I expand, and then I turn it into a shape path. What do you do if you have to change the eyebrow shape a lot? What if you decide, the eyebrows are like this and you want them to go like that? So do you redraw them as lines or do you just finagle them in the path format? The shape format.
What I do is let's see, I've got to get this guy back. So, let's see. Basically, I might redraw, but it looks like I've already messed this up. I'm used to doing a lot of this stuff in Figma where I can manipulate all these paths endlessly and use the corner radius. But basically, if I had to redraw it, which I can't now because I've ruined it a bit. But if this is kind of what I'd ended up with, and I'd already gone in and smoothed these back out using the corner radius, I would probably go back in, unsmooth it, move that up to there and then re-smooth it back.
Got
If
it.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do a lot of sharp lines that turn into curves. That's probably pretty characteristic of my work. So like if I wanted to adjust this, I could bring that over and then curve it out again.
Stephen in the chat says that they used to be an architectural designer and that they miss drafting facades and sketching perspectives. So I thought, actually, you know, for everyone in the chat who might not be as familiar with using a perspective grid, I thought that I would really quickly show how I build a perspective grid. It's super easy to do. I think in just about any program, to be honest. So what I'm doing essentially is, you know, it's what I've got here is a shape. As you can see, it's like a many pointed star shape. That's my perspective grid. If I were to take that away and try to draw the perspective freehand, it would totally be possible. It's just really hard. And I don't want to think that hard. You know, I want to focus my hard thinking energy on the piece itself as opposed to the mathematical rules, you know, of like what angle should something be. So a really easy way to combat that is to use a perspective grid. Which looks something like this. There's lots of different types of perspective. You can do 2-point perspective. And so if you want to create that in Photoshop or, you know, any tool, generally what you have to do is look for a polygon kind of tool. So in Photoshop, I found it in the shape tool. It's under rectangle. So go to polygon. And then when you're up here, you know, just try to match your settings up here to mine as close as possible. So I chose like 100 sides. And then if you go into this little gear icon, I picked star, indent sides by 99%. And so when you draw then that shape, then it, instead of, you know, being a polygon, like a octagon or something, it becomes this like really pointy, you know, like radial shape. And then you can align that with your canvas. And then let's say I want to like add something really quick, you know, I want to add like a protrusion here. I just have to follow the line basically. And, you know, and then it's much easier to do that. So I'm going to take that out because that's not my perspective grid. So that's basically what I'm doing. And, you know, of course I might have small mistakes here and there, but by and large, you know, I think you can really tell when you've removed the grid that it's really helpful to have it, and it results in a lot more precise sketches. So I hope that.
I love that you're not afraid of the perspective tools because, oh boy, I do not do the perspective tools.
Yeah, I get a little afraid of using them on iPad for some reason. I think it's because on iPad it's like more cumbersome to move things around, I feel. But I really like using them. I feel like they're like a very easy hack. Yes. So
I've actually been trying out Illustrator for the iPad as well, and
ooh, cool!
It is so good. Oh my goodness! Like, I just really like it, and I'm using the computer right now, but I gotta say I've been kind of a little bit in love with the iPad. I need to do more of it, but oof. They did a good job with that.
So a question for you, BK, is since you do most of your work with a mouse, as opposed to if you're doing, you know, drawing with a tablet pen, how do you go about setting up your mouse and all of that ergonomically? I remember when I was a product designer, I primarily worked with a mouse, and I like developed a mild case of carpal tunnel. Not sure if like other people have also experienced this, but my solution was to not be a product designer and not use a mouse. I did not develop a good solution, but I'm curious, like, how do you do that given that your workflow is so mouse heavy?
One thing is having a really good mouse. So Logitech is not paying me any money, disappointingly, for this, but this is the Logitech MX Master 3. And it is a good ergonomic mouse. And I think that helps a lot. Is it the same?
No, it's the G502
Okay, it's too
Lightspeed.
small for me to see.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. So, your mouse is very ergonomically set up.
Yeah, mouse is a good mouse. I've realized that finding a mouse that fits my hand size is important. So, like, I have pretty small hands.
Oh,
This is not actually my favorite mouse. My favorite mouse was a different Logitech mouse that I had for 10 years that is now no longer with us because it
oh, I
died
see.
and doesn't work anymore because it was a 10-year-old mouse. But that mouse was the greatest of all time. And partially because it was just so small, I loved it. But yeah, the other thing, I mean, getting the right angle, I think having the desk at the right angle is important. And
Mm.
trying to take breaks, like I'm very bad at it. So like this is like a do as I say, not do as I actually am doing. But yeah, just taking breaks. I also use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So there's a lot of time, I think, probably where I'm moving my hand on and off the mouse a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I use my right drawing hand and my left hand equally as much because my left hand is just like pressing on the commands. Oh, Devin and Rogie are saying nice things in the chat. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are so supportive. And welcome to the stream, Camille. Steven has a really yeah.
Sorry.
Steven has an interesting question, which is how does one develop an illustration style? When did you develop your illustration style? Great question. That's $1 million question, Steven. Yeah. I mean, my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours, BK.
I'm so glad you're starting,
Is
as I'm sure you have a great answer.
I mean, it's not that profound. It's kind of like a non-answer, actually. I feel like your style. Okay, I feel like your voice is inherent to you, and it's kind of like your handwriting. Like you just have it. Whereas your style is a combination of that, as well as your technical, like tactical skills. Like if you've put in the time on how to learn how to draw like a face proportionally and anatomy and stuff like that, your style like becomes a combination of like your technical knowledge as well as your just like natural perspective. But then like I think I take comfort in knowing that your natural perspective is just natural. It's just inherent to you. And like, it's like valid because you're like a human and you have eyeballs and like what you see is like different from what I see. So therefore you're like, your perspective is interesting. And I want to learn about it. And of course there are, artists whose styles I like more than others. It's not that I don't like other people's styles. It's just some people I like their style a lot. It really resonates with my perspective, but that doesn't make anyone's point of view any less valid or anyone's style any less valid. So that's my thought. And the way that I go about developing the style piece is, just trying to up my game technically and learning from friends, learning from peers, taking classes, doing studies. Yeah, I think most illustrators are like really friendly and love to share their knowledge if you ask. So also love to share feedback. Yeah. What do you think, BK?
So I think a lot of it comes from some of its resources. So like the resources you have growing up that start to dictate the kind of work you start making, I think, especially if you come from like drawing at a really young age. And I mean like a kid, like kidding, not like a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean like as a child, because I think we all draw as kids. It's just the thing that kids do is draw, and we're encouraged to draw. And then when we become adults, we're told that you won't make any money, so stop drawing. Or you're bad at drawing, which is just a lie designed to stop you from drawing.
It's a lie.
Such a lie. So
there's like a grain of truth in that, but like I think there's like a way if you are like passionate about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I just want people to feel like it's okay to be bad at things, like that starting off being bad at something does not mean you shouldn't do that thing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, to clarify, I wasn't saying you shouldn't do something because you're bad at it. I was saying there's a grain of truth when people say like illustration art is like a hard career, whatever.
Yes.
I think
sure.
that's true. But there's I think there's ways to do it, and it's not like as impossible as like people make it seem, I think.
Yeah.
But it is hard. So yeah.
It's definitely a grind, especially in the beginning. But in terms of style, I think like I do a lot of vector based art, and like I developed my style because I do vector based art, I think. And that kind of comes from doing a lot of pixel drawing when I was a kid and really falling in love with pixels and pixel art. Um, I'm just really pleased with how this is looking. It's kind of very, like you said, ethereal. You said ethereal. Now I'm like, ooh, it's got to be ethereal.
Oh yeah, I love the way that you achieve your glowy effects. I think that seems really unique to me, and that's a great example of what Steven is describing for the style piece. Like part of it's your voice, it's your perspective, and it's your taste and preferences, and then part of it's like the technique that you're using to create these really like glowy vector lighting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and this is what comes a lot, like what you're saying about style comes down to like things that you like. Like I love mermaids and fairies and pretty shiny glowy things and movies and like very romantic things. I think things that feel like they're from another time or another place. And then I adopt that into what I make because that's what kind of speaks to me. And then that's kind of combined with vector drawing because that's what I kind of first fell in love with. Ooh, that cheek is not working out. So yeah, it's so the style question is so tricky. I also had a professor in college tell me if your style lasts 10 years, you like, or he basically said your style won't last more than 10 years. Like people will eventually stop paying you to make work in that style. And I think that's super true. Like you have to just kind of, I think ideally slowly be evolving and challenging yourself to grow and change and try new styles and see what you like.
You know who that reminds me of is I was watching the Taylor Swift documentary, and she talked about how in her industry to be a like top female musical star at like the top of the charts, you have to be constantly reinventing yourself every album cycle basically. And it's yeah, and she was talking about slightly more like tricky and nuanced thing, which is she has to reinvent herself, but like it has to be acceptable within society's standards for women. But I really resonated that as someone who just makes things in general. It's like I think you do have a style, and it has to constantly be evolving, just as per the environment that we're in. And the good news is, as this exercise is showing, you inherently grow along those lines. Like if you just spend time working on something, whether it's professionally or not, you will improve. It's like a law of like, it's a law of like something. Yeah, the law of working on something. Yeah, it's like your eye does get better, and it's like, yeah, it's a tried and true principle. So I'm seeing some chat conversation about keyboards, and yeah, I want to say like welcome to all the keyboard lovers, and we've got some really talented keyboard designers in the chat, Mint and Sailor HG, and anyone else who might be interested. So that's really cool. We had both Susan and Amy on the stream last year. It was really fun.
So my boyfriend is obsessed with keyboards. He loves them. Loves them. And I'm not super into them, but I am getting one. And now I'm starting to care about keycap sets.
Oh yeah.
And so it's a whole world.
Yeah, definitely.
Was not anticipating being like interested in, but now I care a lot about keycap sets because he cares about them, and I have very strong feelings about them a lot of the time.
Oh, welcome to Adrian, whose stream is coming up next after this. It's at, like I mentioned, it's at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And Adrian is going to be taking folks through an exercise of creating an ox illustration, I believe, because it is, yeah, it is almost
for Lunar New Year?
Yeah, it is almost the year of the ox. So happy Lunar New Year as well to everyone who may be celebrating. I've got my Lunar New Year earrings on.
I've been doing a lot of Lunar New Year stuff actually with so one of my clients that I work with is MMHMM, and I design virtual programs. And so we did a whole bunch of Lunar New Year designs.
Yes, I've seen those. They're so cool. Yes.
It's so fun. What a great holiday. So many beautiful, like, just things to be inspired by. And we had a great time. I had so much fun making that.
If you are participating in Lunar New Year, let us know in the chat, what you're looking forward to for this holiday, whether it's a specific dish. There's a lot of traditional dishes that are eaten for Lunar New Year. Like, it's considered very lucky to eat noodles that are long. I don't know why. I think it means you have a long life, as well as fish. And as well as other, different cultures have their specific dishes as well. I think we might do Sichuan steamed fish. So, yeah.
So I'm coming to your house then, it sounds like.
Yeah, you are.
In a non-COVID world, I would be going to your house and eating your food.
Yeah. Ooh, people are saying, okay, so Rachel says hot pot. Yeah. Christina says all the food. Yep. The food's always amazing. This year it's a little different because it's distanced. Normally we have just a huge family friend celebration. It'll be more quiet this year. Steven is coming in hot with all the good questions. Steven asks, what's an illustration skill you're trying to improve on? Great question, Steven.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Steven's not letting us off the hook. He's like, no, you guys have to answer the questions I really want. Oh man.
Well, I think it's actually pretty relevant to our prompt, which if you're joining us, midway through the stream, our prompt is to take a look at a piece that you created in the past and redraw it with your, wisdom and perspective of being a little bit older now. I'm having more experience. So, do you want to go first, BK, or?
Sure, I'm more than happy. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put this, where this layer, all right, we'll bring it back to the top. So do you see this monster dog face? He's like staring into your,
my sister's dog looks like that. Like her dog's eyes are huge and very beady.
This is, I do not usually draw animals, and I would like to get better at drawing animals. So I'm challenging myself to do that. As you can see in the original drawing, I went with books because I did not want to try drawing that dog. And today / tomorrow, I'm going to attempt to draw this dog's face. Oh man, how do they look the way they look? I don't know. The other thing I'm trying to get better at is making things feel a little bit more stylistic and less like a drawing of a photo, if that makes sense. Even though my work is very referential, but I want even more to be able to have things be more stylized in whatever way that ends up becoming.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, like self-critique. That's very good. Very specific.
I know what I hate about myself, so
I'm curious, and I'll kick it back to the chat. What's an illustration skill, or insert topic here? What's a design skill? What's a technical skill? What's anything skill that you are trying to improve on? It'd be great to hear. It is mid-February now, so we're about one month into the new year. Good time to work on some new skills or resolutions. I would say, I think I'll identify two skills. One is like meta level as a human. I want to get better at having more creative confidence. I do think I second guess things a little bit, and I want my confidence to be at a higher and more consistent level. I think that my confidence goes very up and down in spurts. It's like, oh, I finished a client project, it's very high, and then it's starting a new daunting piece, goes down low. So I want to have more of that consistent core confidence, core strength, And then a second thing I want to get better at is I want to improve on technical lighting skills. So I'm actually really excited. I'm going to be taking a class soon from an illustrator who I followed about that. So excited about that. You know, we're about halfway through the stream, and I do also want to let you guys in on a little secret. So at the end of last year, during the last stream in December, a couple of folks asked me about creating a Discord for the community. And at the time, we didn't have one. So I took your feedback, and we've actually created a Discord. You can check it out. It's listed in the stream template. It's under our names. But our Discord is at creativecuties.net, and it's a Discord that I started with my friend Amy, who's in the chat, Sailor HG. It's meant to be a community for creatives who like making as well as cute things. And our idea is that it'll be filled with different spaces dedicated to different technical topics, as well as just chatting about life in general. So we've got a doodle channel, we've got channels for creative coding, for cooking, for fashion design, we've got a lot of channels, and also there's like a general chat channels as well. So if you are looking for a creative community, and if you personally identify as a creative who also likes cute things, so that could be anyone, feel free to check it out at creativecuties.net. And we are actually soft launching it this week. So we haven't opened it up to everyone like on Twitter or Instagram or anything. So you guys are this is one of the first places that we are announcing it.
Got to get in now.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's one of my favorite new places on the internets just to hang out. It feels like a cross between Twitter and Slack, except more fun. And it feels closest to like AIM chat rooms in high school, except it's like with friends who, now are a little older. So yeah.
I can say I'm there, so it's the place to be.
You're in. Yeah, it's really fun. It's cute. I like it. And let's see. Golden Rose says, they like to have more confidence in their creative abilities, at least to the point of feeling more legit in doing professional work. Yes. Yeah. Resonant. Susan, aka Melodica, says their soft skill is taking a chill pill on optimizing everything, including work, and then having more time and energy and money to engage in serendipity. Those are some great skills. Thanks for sharing, you guys. I'm going to be working on this. So what I'm doing right now is I am blocking out the general shapes that are going to be in my illustration. This is a 2-day stream. So tomorrow we'll be also working on this. And if you tune in tomorrow, you'll see my progress on that. I'll probably start working on the actual painting process. But I actually really do enjoy, this color blocking component. As you can see, it's obviously not very precise in terms of the colors that I'm choosing. I'm trying to get more of the like relative lighting tones and the shades in, but I find it very soothing to just kind of, I feel like a sculptor kind of just sculpting in the little shapes. So Bonnie, Kate, you recently had some really exciting updates that you mentioned in your intro. You started a new job.
Yes.
How's that going?
It is amazing. So it's basically like working at Netflix has basically been my like dream job for probably always. Probably ever since I knew what Netflix was and realized I wanted to work at a company.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm literally drawing like a thing from a movie right now. Like I love TV, I love movies, I love just all of that. And so my new job is actually doing product design, which I've never done before. But I'm doing design systems, which has a lot of overlap with doing brand systems and illustration systems. And that's been kind of like my bread and butter for the past kind of 2 years or so. And so I'm finally now like, I feel like in the big leagues, like this is the real deal. And I'm so excited because everyone has just been so nice, and I'm getting to like help people watch art and have a better experience doing it. And I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congrats. And you are a product designer now. Do you still get to do illustration as part of your job?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Cool.
Without saying too much, because I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say. Yes.
All right, that's exciting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Congrats.
So there's a lot of overlap because products need illustration, and design systems can always benefit from having illustration as part of them, especially if you have people to maintain them. So I'm gonna I won't be like full-time illustrating like I've been doing kind of more recently, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of like teaching Figma and getting people understanding how the design system works, and figuring out how we can like push the boundaries of product design through systems. But I'm so excited, and it's really satisfying to feel like I can pivot, right? That I'm not trapped in one job. Even though I love illustrating and I love iconography, I love brand, it's nice to know that if I want something different, I can do other things.
Interesting. That's also a favorite topic here on Doodle Therapy. We chat about this quite a bit. We talk about what it's like to pivot or try something new in your career. I think that's been a very consistent thread, because a lot of the guests that I've had on so far, what they're doing now professionally and successfully is not necessarily what they started out doing or studied in school or, whatever, like got XYZ credential for. It's always through a series of slight pivots. So that is cool to think about. Is making the move to product design something you had been basically, planning and telegraphing for a while now?
No. The first time I saw the job description on Twitter, I was like, nah. and I just kept scrolling. And then a friend of mine, Molly Magnol, she tagged me in the job description. Yeah, Molly. She tagged me and was like, BK, you love Figma. And so I was like, I do. Okay, fine. Like I love Netflix and I love Figma, and I do love product design. I'm just not, I was like, well, but I'm not a product designer and it's Netflix. So like they're going to hire an expert product designer. So, but I was like, you know what, why not apply? So I messaged Josh, and he turns out, he's lovely, of course, like pretty much everyone is, and realized that would actually be a really great fit. And I've been told a lot of the time by product designers, they're like, you probably would like product design.
Oh, cool.
And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm just like, this is just my like way of getting pulled into it. It was kind of inevitable. Cause I wasn't really like planning to do it, but it does feel a bit like it was coming for me. Like the product designers were not going to let me get away that easily.
Nice. Yeah. That's really inspiring as well. And, if people have questions for BK, feel free to ask it in the chat. And congrats on your new job. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is really exciting.
Yeah, it feels very much like Cinderella story kind of situation. Like I kind of still don't 100% believe it's really what's happening to me, but it's happening.
if you think of a question for you is, if you think about where you were when you created the original illustration that we looked at in 2014, the past illustration, and think about where you were, how do you feel, like where were you at that point in your career, in your life? And, what are some like, if you had kind of described that journey from, your past self who drew this illustration 7 years ago to your current self drawing the updated illustration today, what would that look like?
I think one of the things that would surprise me most or that I would maybe be even happiest with is how independent I've become.
Hmm.
I always felt like I needed to rely on other people, or that my work wasn't good enough, or that it wasn't emotional enough, or that I didn't deserve XYZ job. And now I'm like, oh no, whatever company it is, like Netflix or, whatever company I am working with, I'm like, oh no, you are lucky to have me. I am awesome. And
Oh, yeah.
it's weird to feel that way, because it's very easy to just tell yourself that you're not good enough over and over, even as you're making it. Like, even as you're like at the top of your game, you're like, oh, but really, am I that good? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't have 10,000 followers, or I don't have a house, or whatever thing you think that you should have. It's very easy to just use that as an excuse to think you're not good enough, when you're probably really, really good and fine and doing great.
Yeah. I also think with those types of metrics, the bar really shifts once you reach the first one. And it's kind of like a hedonic treadmill. So yeah, you're totally right. Oh, and people in the chat are saying you are awesome. So yeah.
Thank you, cat people.
Yes.
I love positive reinforcement.
Yes. Golden Rose says that you want that kind of confidence, period. And I will give you a pep talk. Pep talk, Golden Rose. Um,
Oh,
you are totally worth it. You are totally worth what a client, consideration by a client or a company, because you're you have a really unique perspective. And I think the fact that you think about yourself and self-improvement and all that probably means already that you are on your way to growing, and who you are tomorrow is going to be stronger than who you were today, and like every day is an improvement. So I think like there are certainly like amazing things in your future, and I hope that you can just keep that sense with you. My friend, Amy always, she's someone who I look up to for her creative confidence. I've been studio mates with her for like the last 3 years, and it's really rubbed off on me a lot. I think her perspective is like, you're a human, so like naturally what you have to say is important, and everyone's
yeah.
perspective is important if it's really coming from a true place. Like, now if you're kind of like trolling someone, that's a different story. But if what you're making and saying is like earnestly from your heart and is part of your truth, then like, yeah, go for it and have confidence in yourself.
I think this is the thing that I've realized most recently, that is a skill that I didn't realize was as important as it is, which is being able to be yourself and then market your true self to people.
Oh, interesting. Market, that is
Yeah.
a very interesting topic, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I was chatting with a recruiter at LinkedIn, not because I was applying, but because she and I were chatting through another thing. But she said that the number one skill she looks for in candidates. Ooh, no, don't save. Just kidding. Don't save. Don't, or whatever button you pressed, BK. Now I am gonna save before I lose this whole thing. What she said was the skill she looks for is people's ability to tell their journey in a like clear,
Ooh,
quick way,
interesting.
because there's a lot to talk about during like a job interview. And this is LinkedIn, and obviously they are like in charge of getting people jobs.
Yeah.
And
Huh,
he said being
interesting.
able to see someone's unique perspective is super important, and being able to see that like they're a human being. And I've heard this from other recruiters, but it was just to have it be reinforced like yet again was really helpful to me, to be like, yeah, people care about you. They care about who you are. They care about what you care about. So that to me is, it's like still surprising that like these big companies still care about like me and my little, feelings and drawings.
That makes sense. Yeah, for like LinkedIn to look for those types of skills, for sure. I think it also shows like a self-awareness and reflecting on yourself. You probably also think about other people too,
Mm,
and you know, um,
that's a
Golden
great point.
Rose. Yeah, Golden Rose says, I think they're talking about the brand topic of like when people are putting forth their personality becomes their brand on the internet and like what that line is. I feel like I've had a weird relationship with it and I'm coming around on the other end. Because when you start using the internet, you're just yourself. And then like
Yeah.
you spend more time, maybe you have a couple of negative and also a couple of positive interactions, and you start to see how like that perception of you shifts the way that people may communicate with you on the internet. But like
Yeah.
where I've come around on that is like um at the end of the day, like the I don't think the putting up a facade front game is like a game worth playing. It seems kind of like a
Yeah.
red herring to me. The red herring is like chasing those things. And that's the distraction from the real game, which is upping your skills and try to learn new things, stuff like that. So that's not to say it's not important, but it seems a bit like a red herring that I don't want to get caught in. That's what I tell myself whenever I see people like arguing on the internet. It's like, this is a red herring. This is like a trap that you could like get sucked into, acknowledge it and like move on. So yeah, that's my perspective. And we're almost at the end of our stream today. We've got about
Oh my gosh, we are, aren't we?
yeah, we've got about 5 minutes left. But BK, it's been really fun to stream with you. My soul feels soothed, so thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't realize we were getting close because I'm just having such a good time and
chatting.
I'm feeling so, happy and fulfilled and doing my little drawing and chatting with lovely humans. And
Yeah.
like, I want to do this every day.
Well, if you are watching the stream not when it's live, but you still want to participate, or if you are participating in our challenge and you are doing a redraw of a past piece that you've created, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, we have created a special Discord group that we are only announcing here for now. It's a secret you guys are in on. So you can check it out at creativecuties.net. There's a lot of channels in there for different creative communities. We've got hardware programming, creative software programming, lots of different topics. We've got a doodle channel, and that's kind of going to be the like Doodle Therapy channel where we get to like chat and connect off stream, especially if you're not able to tune in live. So, feel free to share whatever you're drawing. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to the stream. I really like seeing what people are just up to, and I can recognize that sometimes it can be scary to share your work on, the wider internets. So hopefully this is like a safe little community for people to check out.
So I've realized that now that I only have like 7 minutes left, that I need to like throw a background on here. I know that we're not done and we're going to keep going tomorrow, but like, I just need something. I need.
Ooh, yeah. We were talking about your strategy with the background. We've actually only got about 3 minutes left. But this is a little bit of a cliffhanger that we're ending on. It's like, what will we work on tomorrow? What will the pieces look like tomorrow? I can say for me, I'm definitely gonna work on this later, just because I'm excited about it. I think for me, like when you come back tomorrow, you'll probably see a more full piece, and I'll start to work on some fun details. I'm already skipping ahead a little by drawing these bananas. Like, ideally, the like technically correct or like more efficient way to go about doing this is probably blocking out the larger shapes, but I just can't help myself, so we're gonna have fun.
You gotta do what's fun and what's speaking to you.
Yeah, just feeling. I want to draw these fruits. Kind of deviate a little. It's totally fine to improvise. Once again, it's been awesome to chat with BK, who is working on a redraw of her 2014 Elwood's piece. If you are interested in seeing where we go, we'll be back here again tomorrow at the same time, 3 to 4 p.m. Coming up next is Adrienne W., who will be working on their Year of the Ox piece. So thanks again for joining us. if you also are not joining us live, but you still want to participate in the chat, you can feel free to check out our creative Discord for makers who like cute things at creativecuties.net. So yeah, it's been great to chat with you all, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Feel free to share, if you end up creating a redraw of a past piece, feel free to share it with me and by Alice Lee on social medias, and I will be very happy to see any of your challenge illustrations. And yeah, happy Year of the Ox, and have a great day, everyone.
Hi, everybody.